It's okay, you're live.
I know. Oh, no.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Jeff Clark, Trident Inspections, and obviously he's old like me because he remembers the song.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Ron.
How are you today?
Doing great, Ron. Good morning to you.
Let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And of course, we're celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. What are we going to celebrate today? It's always got to be something good in here. Get to know your customers day. That's something that was brought about in the financial services industry. Imagine that. You'd have stockbrokers that were out there and selling stocks to people and they didn't know their customers. Got a bad feeling, yes.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Kentucky Day? I don't get it. I mean, they have this National Day calendar that we use. National Kentucky Day. And I wonder, because they're going to probably have candy canes in May. Kentucky Day should be the first Saturday of May when they have the Kentucky Derby. But having beaten anorexia, I will stick with National Seafood Bisque Day. If you haven't had seafood bisque, although lobster bisque, I'll go with that one too. Either one goes well for me. I like, of course, look at me. You can tell that I like food. Let's move along and see what's going on in the world right now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 42 points. S&P 500 is up 4. The NASDAQ is up 26. Oil is only up a nickel a barrel right now. And the 10-year Treasury is up 1 basis point. It's about time. Watching all of those things for you. It's still a big issue. It's all about uncertainty because the bonds are not doing well. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. Washington, Dateline. Jim Jordan will not seek the Speaker of the House anymore. He got the grandstanding 8, and it just baffles me, those lunatics. And you know that I'm a conservative guy, but I'm not sure that Matt Gaetz is any different than Ilham Omar and Tlaib and the other extremists. And I am not a Mitt Romney fan, but I listened to one of the things he said. Can you name one law that Matt Gaetz has authored? There isn't one. Can you name one law that Matt Gaetz has put his name onto as a co-sponsor? All he has to do is sign on there. There isn't one of those either. Yet he leads the gang of 8 grandstanders. All they're out there is for clickbait. No better than some of this stuff that we're seeing on some of these other channels right now. Out there for clickbait. And what has he done for our country now? Not only does he do nothing, but leading the gang of 8, along with all of the Democrats, to remove McCarthy as Speaker of the House, has left a major, major void in our government. What's he going to do about it? Not a darn thing, because he doesn't do anything. All of a sudden, now that he finished leading this revolt against McCarthy, do you notice that he's not on the news anymore? You know, as soon as he can complain about something and do nothing, he'll probably be back out there again. Gotta love him. How do you like him, Florida? Maybe, you know, something I understand eventually. Nancy Pelosi's seat will be available in San Francisco. Maybe Matt Gaetz wants to go there soon. Unreal. I mean, he's no better, really, when you think about it. And, you know, as I said, I'm a conservative guy. But him and the other ones of that gang of 8, worthless. Unbelievable. I'll put them in the same category as Jerome Powell.
Such an idiot.
Yeah.
Such an
Speaking
idiot.
of Jerome Powell, he's probably just started speaking now. I think it's noon Eastern time. So beware of what he has to say and what the markets do, because he's been on this rampage. And remember, the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve, they employ 500 PhD economists at the Federal Reserve. Yet half the people that are making policy are lawyers. Now, it's kind of like going to a doctor and asking them for a business advice. They know what they know, but most doctors are not where you're going to want to go get business advice. Lawyers looking at economics, they don't realize that we're already at real time about a 2.2 inflation rate. Well, they want to keep raising rates because we're not at 2.0. Well, the increases that they put in place just a couple of months ago haven't even hit yet. 12 to 18 months is how long it takes. So we're going to see a recession coming, if not even worse. Now, the only thing that I got to be careful. Am I going to say this? Yeah, I'm going to say it. What the heck? So what do Democrats know about getting us out of economic hard times? They only know one thing: war. Oh, yeah, that's what Joe Biden's out there looking at, right? So what's he talking about now? And I listened to him. Did you listen to him yesterday? A combination of his speech when he was with Netanyahu in Israel, and then he goes and does, and this drove his cabinet crazy. While they were refueling Air Force One in Germany, yeah, they think about, well, I'll go on a tangent. I go on rabbits all the time. So it costs about $220,000 an hour to fly Air Force One. It's about 7 hours from Washington to Israel. Go round trip. You got about 14 hours, $220,000 an hour, somewhere about $1.5 million. Was my math right there? Something like that. Yet the president can go over there. Now, I don't know about you, but I have access to Zoom. I think it cost me about $40 a month, give or take. The president probably could have done some of the same things by Zoom and not spent $1.5 million and gotten in the way of the Israeli troops. But I digress. You know, it does show some solidarity. But did you hear the stupid comment he made when he was on Air Force One? Well, we're going to support Israel in everything we do. I agree. That's good. And we're sending in 2 aircraft carriers into the area. That's good. But we're not going to use any kind of military force in the area no matter what happens. Now, even if he didn't want to use military force, and I don't think anybody really likes military force, do you take it off the table like that? Do you think maybe that's the reason why there's more rockets being shot into Israel from the Lebanon area right now than there was before? Unbelievable. Can I get a mean tweet, please? Does anybody else want a mean tweet? You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, the risks of selling your house on your own. We'll talk about it. How to find and compare debt consolidation loans. We'll talk about it. Home inspections. There's a new type of a home inspection that's being required right now. We might even talk about that, all that, and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They only tell us locked rates, no APRs, points paid, points received, just the locked rate. Yesterday, if I get my eyes closer to this, 30-year conforming, 7.787. 30-year jumbo, 7.945. FHA, 7.45. USDA, 7.548. And the best loan on the market for those that earned it, 30-year VA loan, 7.396. Every morning, as early as we can, every business morning, as early as we can, we do put out a little recap of what's going on in the mortgage world. You can get that free, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. Sign up. It is totally free. Let's see what's going on right now as we're talking. We talked about yesterday already, but the S&P 500 is up 2.54. 10-year Treasury is up 2 basis points, 4.92. Mortgage-backed securities are down 10 basis points. They keep on dropping, which means interest rates keep on rising. Not exciting news, but let's see why this is all happening. Well, we got Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is speaking.
Such an idiot.
Yeah.
Such an idiot. Such an idiot.
So we've been seeing more and more support for a pause at the November 1st meeting, especially from influential Fed members. New York President John Williams, Vice Chair Michael Barr, Fed Governor Philip Jefferson have all changed their tune and believe things are progressing towards their targets, and the Fed does not need to hike. Additionally, we heard from Fed Governor Waller yesterday, who had some interesting comments on the economy. Waller said that he sees signs of economic activity and the labor market cooling, and acknowledged the progress we've seen in core inflation. He cited the 3-month run rate of core CPI being at, 3.1%. Haven't we been telling you that right already? Heading towards their target. He also mentioned the weakening consumer who is now stressed with a lot of debt. Does that surprise anybody?
Surprise, surprise.
When asked if the Fed should hike in November, he said they can wait, watch, and see how the economy evolves. Clearly in favor of a pause. Unbelievable. About time. Leading economic indicators, which is forward-looking indicator on the health of the economy, was down 0.7% in September, which was even worse than the negative 0.4 reading expected. This report has been negative 18 months in a row and portends a recession ahead. Wow, haven't we heard that before? Historically, once this report turns negative, there is an average 22-month lead time until we enter a recession. This report not only turned negative 18 months ago, but the readings have been negative for 18 months in a row, clearly showing our economy is slowing down. We've been telling you that. Initial jobless claims fell 13,000 to 198,000. Continuing claims rose 29,000 to 1.734. Remember, we told you about the Warren report yesterday. So we're going to start seeing about that. A lot of companies already announcing layoffs. Existing home sales measures closings on existing homes showed the sales fell 2% in September to 3.96 million unit annualized pace. Slightly weaker than estimates on a year-over-year basis. Sales are down 15.4%. Ow! Yeah, that's a lot. No inventory. Even though inventory levels increased 3.1% last month to 1.1 million units, it's still light. We normally see a seasonal build of inventory around this time of the year, but we're getting very little. There are 3.4 months supply of homes, which is tight. 4.6 months is considered normal. Homes remain on the market for an average of 21 days. 69% of homes sold in less than 30 days, still showing that demand is strong for what is out there. First-time buyers accounted for 27% of sales, down from 29%. Cash buyers, 29% of sales, which was up a bit. Investors made up 18% of transactions, up from 16%. A lot of numbers there. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Enough from me. It's always nice when I have great guests in studio with me. Jeff Clark is with us. Trident Inspections. And they've got a lot going on, Jeff.
We do, Ron. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
So, right now, 21 days to sell a house, and got a lot to do in that time period.
We're getting a lot of calls with very tight contingencies, 5 days, calling on a Thursday, need it done by the weekend, so to speak.
That's a little tough.
It is, but we do move at the speed of real estate.
That's kind of interesting, though, because, we see that where the market's at, and you would think that maybe you do this, maybe some of the listing agents are reaching out and getting pre-listing or getting an inspection done right when they're listing.
Ron, that's a great point. Is the better the house can be prepared for those quick closes, the less negotiation that we're seeing, the less fallouts of escrow. It just really the way that they prepare the home really aids to a speedy closing.
And falling out of escrow is an interesting subject in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, and I share this with our team all the time. What's the number one rule of sales? Once you get to a yes, shut up, right? Because you can only go one other direction. So, if you've got an agreement between the buyer and the seller, they both agreed, okay, let's get it to the closing table, which means how quick can we get you to do the inspection, the appraisal, the loan, if there is one, title, escrow?
And really to that point, what I've been, one of my missions with Trident Inspection Group is to navigate Trident to be a part of the buying process, right? A lot of agents, for a number of different reasons, will view the inspection as an obstacle, right? And we take that opportunity to really reaffirm that buying decision. If we're going to talk about something, we're going to educate the client throughout the process, make difference. Let them know what is a material defect versus, let's say, deferred maintenance, right? Because a lot of times you'll see
that's a big issue.
It is a big issue, Ron. And if you educate the client along the way and you're putting eyes on the issues and you're talking about it and helping them understand how it could have gotten there, then it really lowers. Of course, they're not going to take care of the home like that. They're going to, raise the bar because it's their first home or second home and they know what's going on.
Well, one of the, buying a house is a scary process.
Yes.
Right. I mean, because number one, we don't do it very often.
Right.
So it's a scare. The whole thing is really kind of scary. And, with our team and with our radio program we've done for years and years, 13 years now, the whole idea is all about education.
Correct. Yes.
And if you can educate people and when I think with what you're doing, that inspection, it's the same concept. I think about the house that I'm buying and, what's the maintenance going to be? And is it going to fall apart? Am I getting a good deal? Am I getting overpaying? Am I going to have whatever?
Right.
You come out and I'm guessing how many pages on a typical, 2,500 square foot, 4-bedroom house, how many, or 3-bedroom, whatever it is, how many is that? How long is that? A 2-page report, 30-page report, 10-page report?
What we're looking at, and the way that Trident does it, is we want to make it a document for you for your home ownership. So we're going to get things like your data plates, and that's the informational tags on your heating and air conditioning, your furnace, your water heater, your air conditioner, all these. It becomes a central point for reference for your insurance company or just for your own knowledge. What type of roof do you have? So our reports are going to range right around the 100-page mark. Yes, because we want to have that so when they're reviewing it and they're reading it, they understand a composition shingle roof and life expectancy on that, and or a tankless water heater versus a traditional water heater. What's your amperage on your electrical panel? What type of wiring do you have? Is it aluminum? Is it copper? So we want to have all that easy.
You translate that into English for guys like me that can't read?
Well,
that's all. That's pretty. I mean, I don't even. Half the stuff you just said, I don't understand.
So there's
there's a lot of people like me that don't understand that.
Correct. So that's what we do during the inspection process. Is we take them to each one of these systems and have them interact with the system, explain what it is, explain what kind of wiring's in the house and what's the preferred versus what was maybe installed at the time of construction. Or if the water heater, let's say, has been upgraded from an old 50-gallon tank system to a more efficient tankless system, and how to adjust the temperature on that. We really want to walk the client around the home and show them all these systems, so that way they start interacting with the property and they become familiar with the components that are in that house.
So from what I'm hearing, you're almost to a point that it's like the puppy dog syndrome. The more somebody starts interacting with the property, the more they fall in love with the property, hopefully, and they're anxious or more excited to keep it.
Well, what I found to be true is the more you could speak to the person as opposed to just using all this industry vernacular, right? Just these jargons, and you could have them understand what's going on. Let's say, for example, you're seeing some, wood rot or whatever the case is, and if you can have them take a look at it, explain what it is, explain how it got there, or at least make some sense of it, it starts bringing down that anxiety level. And they start saying, oh, okay.
Sure.
And then you start showing them where the different systems are. The more you take time to set down, and that's how Trident is totally geared. Our complete model is towards the summary review, right?
Oh, okay.
It's geared towards the
summary. So it's like an executive summary so I don't have to, even though I might want to read all 100 pages, I don't have to go through. It's not going to be a final exam on it.
No.
We're going to continue our conversation. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Understanding the home inspection, what it's for, what it's going to help you with, how it can make or break your transaction, and what are the things that should make or break the transaction. We'll talk about all that and more with Jeffrey Clark, Trident Inspections. The risk of selling your house on your own, how to find and compare debt consolidation loans, all that and more. Reach me anytime off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Great app. It'll tell you let you monitor your credit score, bank account, asset account, real estate values for different services, and any properties that are available. About 97% of them across the country are all listed right there, rsrmoney.com. The risk of selling your house on your own. Big risk right there. You're thinking about selling your house as a for sale by owner? Call it FSBO in the industry. If so, there's a whole lot more time and expertise needed in that process than you might think. While the idea of doing it all yourself might seem tempting, it's important to recognize the challenges you may face if you take it on all by yourself. As a recent article from Bankrate explains, quote, choosing the right price, crafting a compelling listing, marketing potential buyers, coordinating showings, preparing paperwork. All of these are tasks that in the absence of a real estate agent, you'll have to do yourself, unquote. Here's a bit more information on just a few of those things and how you may miss out if you don't use an agent. Well, you may not price the property properly. We know that most people get about 14% more money if they use an agent than if they do it themselves. 14%. Let's see, commissions 5 to 6%. Take that away from 14%. Carry the one. Is that about 8% more money you're going to get for your property? Just throw that out there. Pricing your house right is key to a successful sale. Real estate agents have experience navigating this housing market and understand the art of pricing a home to sell today. Unfortunately, homeowners who sell on their own often lack this all-important experience that can lead to two common consequences: overpricing or underpricing the house. rsrsalesmax.com, rsrsalesmax.com. We actually did a whole workshop on how to get the most money from your property, rsrsalesmax.com. An article from NerdWallet offers this advice, quote, if your home is overpriced, you run the risk of buyers not seeing the listing, but pricing your house too low, and you could end up leaving some serious money on the table. A bargain basement price could also turn some buyers away, as they may wonder if there are any underlying problems with the house, unquote. Don't run this risk. Instead, partner with an agent to make sure your house is priced at current market value so it catches the eyes of eager buyers. This will put your house in a position to make the best first impression. We actually show you, I think we had in that presentation, rsrsalesmax.com, what the percentages are of people that are going to see your property based on what you're pricing at. So that's all right in that presentation, rsrsalesmax.com. You don't have as much experience in marketing a house. In this digital age, online marketing has become a real game changer, especially when it comes to selling your house. A recent report from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, explains, among all generations of home buyers, the first step taken in the home search process was to look online for properties, unquote. When you part with a real estate agent who knows how to take advantage of online marketing tools and resources, you'll be able to get in front of these tech-savvy house hunters, boosting your chances of a successful sale. But if you're attempting to sell your house on your own, you might find yourself missing out on the full power of online and social media strategies. You may not be comfortable handling all the back and forth when you decide to sell your house. You're not just on a quest to find a buyer. You're also stepping into the world of negotiations. You'll have to coordinate with a bunch of people, including the buyer, buyer's agent, inspection company, the appraiser, and more. It's a dance where every move counts, and the expertise of a real estate agent can make a world of difference in keeping the negotiations on track and sealing the deal. As NerdWallet says, quote, your listing agent will also, of course, be on your side throughout negotiations. They'll double-check paperwork that comes through, communicate with buyer's agents and other parties to the sale, and generally stay on top of things through the closing day, unquote. Here's the issue. I've talked to agents that have been in the business up to 45 years, and they'll all say the same thing. There are always speed bumps in transactions, always. Agents just understand them and know how to navigate them, the good ones. The ones that just got their license out of the Cracker Jack box, they may not know exactly what they're doing. bottom line, if you're thinking about selling your house and the idea of going it alone has crossed your mind, be sure to think through that decision carefully. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'd be happy to give you some guidance on that. And hey, you know something? Even if you do it on your own, there are a lot of disclosures that the law requires you to provide, or else you could be liable at the end of the day. So make sure that you're taking care of all these things. That's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation. Jeff Clark is with us, Trident Inspections. And we're chatting about learning about your house, or learning about the house that you don't even own yet.
Yeah.
That's a key. So, it's interesting, Jeff, because the sellers probably know about the house. My guess, and the reason I say that is you're doing a lot of inspection items that, why would I go and check my roof? Why would I check my cabling or wiring unless there's a problem?
Right.
Why would I check every plug in my house unless there's a problem? You guys are doing that
on every inspection. And that's a great point to dovetail into the previous conversation. Even though you may live in the house, you're not going in the attic. You're not going in the crawl space. You know the house as you interact with the house, but having a trained professional with a trained eye to come in, you may find things, or the inspector may find things that you had no idea of. For example, when I'm in a house, every house that we have very sophisticated equipment, thermal imaging, moisture meters, and things like that bring to surface defects or potential defects, issues that you couldn't even tell unless you had that type of equipment. There'd be no indicators.
So it sounds to me like it's almost better off doing this, when you're thinking about selling a house before you even list.
And that's a good point, because up in the Bay Area, Northern California, a pre-listing inspection is almost it's standard, right? Down here in Orange County in the Southern California market, it is that has been put onto the buyer to come in to get their inspection. Their pre-listing inspection, maybe at about 10%, I would say.
So that goes to a whole nother topic, just from my consumer advocate hat. So as a buyer, I'm going out there and I'm going to hire an inspector. Maybe I know that they're a good one. Maybe I don't, because the average person has no reason to know a good inspector from a bad one, right? I mean, they just have no reason to know that.
Mm-hmm.
And as the buyer may come and get an inspection, and somebody might say, well, these are the issues. Whereas if a seller already had an inspection, they may look at it and say, okay, I think I should be taking care of getting this and this and this and this fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can compare the inspection that they got from you pre-listing, the inspection that the buyer got from their people, and say, this really isn't so, or this I already took care of, or, we've got a conflict, because there's people like me who have absolutely no idea about anything that's handy. I don't know which end of a screwdriver to use. Right. So if one guy says to me that the wiring is bad, and the next guy says there's nothing wrong with the wiring, I'm clueless.
Right. So in those, to unpack that a little bit, because you mentioned a lot there, is when you have that, it depends on how the property comes on market. You have a lot of people, or I would say probably 20% of my business is coming from properties that have been rehabilitated or flipped.
Okay.
Right. So in that kind of scenario, the seller doesn't really know much. They know what they've done to the property, right?
Sure.
And depending on this, they
never lived there.
They never lived there. They purchased it. They're going to disclose what they know, or really what they've repaired, and then they're going to move on. But they're still going to go after. You still need to take a look at, what type of plumbing's in there. What does the lateral sewer line look? And that's where the wastewater goes out, which can get expensive really quick. What type of is the panel upgraded? What's the amperage of the panel? What's the structure look like? Because you'd be amazed at what I've seen by just poking my head into an attic.
Do some of these, because the stuff that you're talking about, from a very, very ignorant person, me, sounds scary. Does it scare people off? I mean, you start hearing some of these things, and this is. How much do I want to know?
Well, you want to know the condition of the property, right? Yeah, I mean, bar none. But also in the delivery of that, you want to have it contextualized for you, right?
Right.
How did it get here? What is for example, I just had one the other day. It was a pre-listing inspection that had a foundation issue on the side of the property. They had some drainage issues which caused the rebar in the foundation to rust. Okay. That person, after we
the rebar in the foundation, you got to back up here because
Right.
I'm a simple guy and don't understand all this stuff.
Right.
I understand what rebar is.
Yeah.
And foundations are usually concrete.
Correct.
So how do you know that it's rusted inside the concrete?
Great question. So what'll happen is it's the type of cracking. Cracks matter, right? The type of cracking that's going on, it'll almost be like a pie shape, and you'll have a horizontal crack along there. And we just popped a piece of the concrete off and was able to see that indeed the rebar's rusting. That's definitive. You could see it, right? When talking with the current owner, she's like, "Oh yeah, that whole area used to flood back in the day, and then I had surface drains put in to address that." So it all started to make sense. And through just conversation and talking about it, she wasn't surprised. It didn't steer the deal one way or another. And she was ready because now she had information to move forward with a repair.
Ah, okay. So a lot of stuff there.
You need to know a lot. And to your earlier point about how do you know that there's a good inspector, right? How do you know? Because in California is a non-licensed state, meaning that there is
one of the only things in California that you can do without a license.
that is unregulated. So you have predominantly two primary associations in California. You have the National Association of Certified Home Inspectors, which I'm the Orange County chapter president of, and then you have CREA, the California Real Estate Inspection Association. Those are the two primary associations. So you want to make sure that they're aligned with that association, and then also referrals from your agent, and then also due to the advent of the internet, you have reviews online.
Great stuff. We're going to continue our conversation when we come back. I'm probably not going to get into our Borrow Smart segment or Your Credit Matters segment again because I'm out of time. Because I want to talk, we've been chatting a lot on Ron Siegel Radio about insurance. And we may need to talk a little bit with Jeff Clark about homeowners insurance. Really? We'll talk about that. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily home and finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it's wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solutions, and I'm just going to tell you, rsrnodebt.com, rsrnodebt.com, rsr2step.com. That's a site that you can go to. Maybe, and it's going to show you right in there. I'm not going to go into it right now because I want to talk to Jeff some more. So it's going to basically show you how you can double your mortgage rate. Go from a 3.5 to a 7 or 7.5. Save money. Put another maybe $500,000, $600,000 in your pocket. rsr2step.com. Get rid of some of the stress of those debts that are mounting up. Also, if you haven't already taken care of, you don't have a property, you don't have equity, our friend Josh and Chris, they're helping out a lot of folks right now with debt consolidation or debt settlement. So chat about that. Give me a call. I can put you in touch with them. And those of you with the student loans, rsrstudentloanhelp.com, rsrstudentloanhelp.com. That's your Credit Matters segment brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. Continue our conversation. Jeff Clark, Trident Inspections, is with us. Now, if you remember, probably a couple of weeks ago, Corey Neubauer was in with us, and we were chatting about home insurance. And big challenge with home insurance right now in the state of confusion, because there's a lot of insurance companies that are basically saying they want to find any way possible to not renew homeowners insurance. And it's taking a lot longer to get homeowners insurance. There's a lot of companies that aren't even offering it. Doesn't matter whether you're in a flood zone or not. Doesn't matter whether you're in a fire zone or not. They're basically saying they don't want exposure to California. Some of them, and I've seen these already, and I've seen on some of the social channels where insurance companies are saying, before we renew, we want a roof inspection or we want a home inspection. We want to know what we're insuring. Not a surprise. So let's chat, being that we've got the inspector here. Are you seeing any of that, Jeff?
We are. We're probably receiving, I would say, 4 or 5 calls a week with people when they're renewing that is requiring them to either get a roof certification or an insurance renewal inspection, which is roof, HVAC, which is your heating, air conditioning, and ventilation, your furnace and air conditioning, your plumbing, washer and dryer, and then foundation. Or no, I'm sorry, electrical and foundation.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot. So,
yeah.
Okay. So, I look at that roof certification, the air conditioning and heating systems, plumbing systems. I don't know why washer and dryer seems like an
because that's a source of moisture. Water,
okay.
Wherever water's at. Water is the enemy, and it's to make sure that they don't incur any loss.
Like I had one that was a $40,000 loss because of a $2 part.
Yep.
What do they call that line that goes from the toilet to the
supply line?
Supply line.
Yeah.
Didn't know it, and it only took us a real short period of time to flood the house.
Another thing that's notorious for that is your ice maker or your water dispenser on your fridge. I had a friend of mine, inspector, $6 part, ended up to be a $60,000 claim.
Wow.
So yeah.
So how long does it take you to do something like one of these insurance inspections?
We're on site for about 2 hours, right?
2 hours.
About an hour. I'd say with client interaction and explaining to them and what have you. The actual inspection usually takes, depending on the size of the house, about an hour and a half.
So with all of them that you're doing, are you finding significant problems that are stopping somebody from getting insurance when you're doing them?
What the main thing is, which was surprising to me actually, because on one house, beautiful house down in South Orange County, 2,500 square feet, guy was a doctor, just gorgeous property, and he had 3 tiles. 3 tiles, because on your concrete tile roofs, they might slip like that, and you'll have a little gap. 3 of those like that, and they told him he had to get it fixed, or they denied his renewal until he got that fixed.
Wow.
Very, very ticky-tacky.
So again, they're basically looking for some reason to, yes. but you just wonder, are they? So that's a ticky-tacky one, and you wonder, is there value in what they're doing, or are they saving themselves anything, or just being a nuisance?
So far, what I've seen is they're being a nuisance.
Okay.
So far. Now there are some things that, if we find something, condensate line, which is the water, just like when you shut your car off and the air conditioner's been running, that water that runs underneath there, your furnace does this, or your air conditioner does the same thing. So if I find a broken line up there, everybody's going to benefit, right?
Sure.
The homeowner, everybody's going to benefit on that. Haven't found that, and that doesn't say that they're not out there, but the percentages, they're looking to make sure that the properties are being maintained.
And I bet that most people, I had no clue until you and I started chatting this morning, that this is actually a service that a home inspector can do.
This is absolutely. I
wouldn't have known where to go to even for these things.
Right. I have my business development, Brittany, my wife. She's out talking with insurance companies, letting them know that we do provide this service. We've had our reports through underwriting on major insurance carriers, and they've been getting renewed and been accepted for sure.
It's a big issue right now.
It is.
You know,
It is
so-
a huge issue.
And so is there anything that's in that report that's already included in your new purchase report?
No, there's nothing in there. Yeah, it's very similar. Even yesterday, as a matter of fact, I had to write a summary for an insurance company on a purchase. That was because they wanted basically an executive summary off of the report that just reaffirmed the condition in a one-page sheet that they could submit to their insurance company.
So that's a good thing. If you're in the process of buying a house, make sure that you ask the inspector, do they provide that? If they don't, you should have called Jeff in the first place. Just throw that out there. Right. But because if you don't want to, the biggest thing is you don't want to get to the 11th hour of a real estate transaction, find out that there's something needed.
Yes, correct.
And if you know that they're going to ask for these things, why not, in fact, I'm going to tell our team today, make sure you put that in every request, whoever the inspector is, if they're not going to you, is make sure you've got an insurance summary in there.
And that's really a great point, Ron, is part of the earlier, who's a good inspector? Make sure, just reach out to them. I have people answering the phones at our office that were trained by me, that are doing it the Trident way, that are here to answer your questions, whether you use us or not. That's irrespective. But we want to be able to answer your questions, to inform you, to ask the right questions, so that way you're feeling comfortable with your decision. I mean, it doesn't.
Something that kind of encapsulates the whole concept of your portion of the transaction.
Right.
It's right to be comfortable, because I'm sure, I don't think you're in this scenario, but you go to a lawyer and ask them to read a contract.
Right.
It's their job to find something wrong, or else they don't feel like they've justified their existence.
Right. Correct.
Right. And you can tell I love lawyers, even though I work with a bunch of them. Right. But that's their job, is they've got to try and find something.
Right.
Your job, really, the way I look at it, is to, check everything and report. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it catastrophic, or is it just cosmetic?
Well, that's exactly it. We're there to go through every system within the house using the normal operational controls. We're not opening up walls. We are using, like I said, sophisticated equipment, because it's a non-destructive. You don't want me punching holes in walls, but you want to make sure that I go through every system and I have the standards of practice in place, and to go through these systems methodically, and then educate you on the process.
So when you talk about educating somebody on the process, you probably get to know the systems better than anybody, or most people. When I go and look at a new house, I don't know how to use the thermostat.
Right. That is an excellent, Ron. Between thermostats and appliances, I have to stay on my game. I was at one thermostat, these Nest and Google Homes, and I was messing with one thermostat. Next thing you know, I'm on the Weather Channel. So, we will walk you through how to use these systems and make references. As far as your fireplace, we'll look it up and put an operation manual on there. We really try to go above to empower our clients on all of the systems within their home.
And from what you said before, when you're looking at the nameplates or whatever, if I call an HVAC company and they want to know what kind of an air conditioner you have,
correct,
I can go out there and try and crawl around the thing and still not know what I'm talking about, but your report's probably going to tell me.
The report is going to tell you. You're going to have the model number, the serial number, the type of refrigerant in there on both the condensing unit and the air handler up in the attic or wherever it's located. You're going to have the data plate for the water heater. You're going to have the data plate for the stove, the microwave, all those systems that you're going to need. You're going to have a breakdown of what type of roof you have: concrete tile, Spanish tile, composition shingle, what type of roof you have, whether it be a rafter or a truss.
So I got the owner's manual for the house.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want more information, if you want to meet Jeff Clark and the team over there at Trident Inspections, give me a call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean, who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Paid by the hour and older by the minute.